So I recommend a lot of indie games, and I always get asked for my top indie game of all time. Honestly, it's really hard to choose my top games, so I'm just gonna do a top 15. Hey, it's Amanda at Cutie Indie Rex. I've only recently gotten into gaming, so I've been playing catch up on all of the amazing indies out there. In the past 2 years of gaming, I've gotten to 185 games, which is kind of a lot. Yes, I do have a spreadsheet of all of them. There are still so many games that I need to play, so this list probably will need to be updated in a year or so after I've gotten to some more. But for now, of the 185 games, here are my top 15. If you do like videos like this, make sure to subscribe. I put out new videos every week, and I stream cute indie games. These are not in a particular order, but the one that I generally say is my favorite is at the end, so stick around. The Witness is the first game that I fell in love with. If you're into puzzle games, this is one that you cannot miss. This is a first-person open-world game where you explore the island and complete puzzles in a variety of environments. The puzzles are set up in these panels, which are connected by cables. You'll complete them in succession in order to light up lasers around the island. The puzzle mechanic is simple and is essentially just tracing lines in these grid-like puzzle panels. More and more rules get introduced in each section, which makes solving these puzzles more complex. I love puzzle games, and I did not think that one could really grip me like this. The rules of the puzzles are taught flawlessly as the panels progress. There is so much to explore in this environment, and the use of perspective is done in such interesting ways throughout the game. This is a game that I truly wish I could forget so I could play all over again. The amount of wonder and excitement that I got from exploring these environments is amazing. There are so many hidden secrets in this game as well. If you are into puzzle games and have not played this one, please go play it. It's amazing. Hollow Knight is just a masterpiece. Now, I generally don't love the 2D platformer Metroidvanias. They're generally not my genre of choice, but Hollow Knight is a 10 out of 10 for me. It takes place in this beautiful, glowy world that has so many different sections to explore. You battle enemies in each environment, find collectibles, and get upgrades. This has challenging bosses and platforming, which are so satisfying when you complete them. I played this one very early on in learning how to play games, and I found that the progression of it was very approachable, though it was quite challenging. There is so much to explore, and this game has a huge map with lots of fun secrets. The combat is snappy and the game is challenging without being overly frustrating. I do like that you can kind of explore and upgrade and go at your own pace and not have to be stuck at a single boss. Okay, though I did spend 6 hours on one of the bosses, only to have my partner beat it for me. If you haven't played this one yet, you absolutely should. There is so much to explore. The combat is really great. The environments are stunning. The character design, legitimately everything about this game, 10 out of 10. Spiritfarer was the first game to make me cry, and it made me cry like a million times while playing it. This is a management sim where you play as Stella, a Spiritfarer whose job is to ferry spirits to the afterlife. As you explore the world and build up your ship, you learn more about the stories of the souls in your care. When each spirit feels finished with their time on Earth, you accompany them and help them move on. This has slow and relaxing gameplay with a focus on managing your ship, exploring the world, and truly getting to know each of the characters. There is quite a bit of gameplay in this, and I spent about 30 hours on it, and more characters have been added since I finished. There's also an option for 2 players to play via local co-op. These hand-drawn environments are beautiful, and this game was such a treat to play in and explore. The relaxing gameplay paired with the stunning soundtrack made this game just so peaceful. The story is so emotional, and the game depicts death in such a beautiful and meaningful way. If you are looking for a game that's going to make you cry, this is it. It's so good. Absolutely need to try it. Okay, so generally I like the shorter indie games, ones that are probably under 10 hours or so to complete, but I've sunk hundreds of hours into Slay the Spire. I've truly needed to peel myself away from this game. It is so addicting. This is a deck building roguelite where you battle your way through enemies to ultimately slay the Spire. There are 4 characters with distinct cards, and it's up to you to optimize and build synergies in your deck to get as far as you can. Each character and deck build will have a different strategy, with the common goal to have attacks, blocks, and powers to quickly defeat a variety of enemies. As you progress further into the game, you'll gain new cards and unlock new abilities and potions. This is a challenging game that is incredibly fun and satisfying. It feels like such an accomplishment to build an efficient and powerful deck using varying strategies for each character. I would highly recommend this game, though proceed with caution because it might just take over your life. Florence is a very short interactive novel that is just amazing. You play as a young woman, Florence, who falls in love with Krish, a cello player. The game takes you through their relationship as they grow together and apart and find their passions in life. This story is relatable, moving, and beautifully told. The game is so well crafted that you truly feel the experiences of the characters without the game having to say a word. The main gameplay happens in these mini-games that feel meaningful and fit seamlessly into the story. Florence is a very short game at around 30 minutes. It totally broke my perception that playtime equals value that a game has, because this to me was a 10 out of 10 game, which is up there with some of the AAA games like God of War and Breath of the Wild. It just goes to show you that even short game experiences can be truly moving and meaningful and beautiful. And now I just want to bring my Switch everywhere so I can have my friends play this game. It is just so good. I want everyone to experience it. I've just recently played Before Your Eyes. I did a stream of it on my channel and whew, this game needs to be talked about more. And I cried. This is a game where you play with your webcam and the main game mechanic is blinking. This game starts after your death and you relive your life memories. When you blink, time moves forward. You get little snippets of memories to piece together the story of the main character's life. This blinking mechanic is so well done and integrated beautifully into the story. I found myself wanting to stay in a scene and explore more or listen to the dialogue only to blink it away sooner than I wanted. The story itself is so meaningful and beautiful, and I found myself crying multiple times during my playthrough. This is one of those games where I finished it and I just immediately wanted to play it again. This is a stunning work of art. This is probably my favorite game that I've played so far this year. Okay, when I first played Inscryption, I didn't know why people were saying it was their favorite game ever, that it was their game of the year. I just kind of didn't get it. But then I kept playing, and then I got it. Heads up on this one, I will avoid big spoilers, but this one is best to go into completely blind without knowing anything about it. So if you haven't played yet and you do want to skip this one, I'll see you on the next game. Okay, let's get into it. Inscryption is a deck building roguelite. You play in this creepy cabin against this dark figure across from you. It is much more than a deck builder though. You get up and use the environment to your advantage as you make it further and further into the journey. And just when you think you've gotten everything figured out, things change, which is all I'm gonna say about it. This game really surprised me, and there is so much more there to the story and to this experience than what it first appears. I did enjoy the first bit of the game, and after I got past this first section, I was hooked. This game totally blew me away, and it had twists that I was just not expecting. If you are into the deck building games or are looking for just a unique experience, this is one that you can't miss. Okay, I know this one is not everyone's favorite of all time, but as someone who loves puzzle games, this just ticked all of the boxes for me. Superliminal is a first-person puzzle adventure where you navigate a world full of optical illusions. You play as someone trapped in multiple layers of dreams and attempting to escape the dream world. The gameplay is essentially using perspective to change the size of objects. This game just took me on a journey that I didn't want to end, with all of the puzzles paired with a stunning, well-crafted environment. Superliminal kind of reminded me of Portal meets Inception. This game went in directions that I just really didn't expect, and the puzzles kept surprising me throughout my entire playthrough. I just wasn't expecting this to be this good. Superliminal is definitely one to pick up if you do like the puzzle games that have really amazing environments. Firewatch is another game that I feel like whenever I've posted about it, it's been kind of controversial. But honestly, I loved it. It just took me on a journey that totally had me hooked. This is a first-person mystery adventure where you play as a fire lookout stationed in a state park. As you keep a lookout for fires and patrol the forest, strange things start happening. The only connection you have to the outside world is through a walkie-talkie where you chat with your boss. You need to figure out what's behind all the creepy things happening and how to stop them. This game can be described as a walking simulator because you are just walking around the environment as the main part of the gameplay. I don't always love saying it's a walking sim because that makes it sound boring, and honestly, this story was so compelling to me. The mystery of the forest totally drew me in, and the dialogue is so well written with fantastic voice acting. This one has an emotional journey that I didn't expect, and is definitely one you should check out if you do love the narrative adventure games. Leave me a comment, let me know if you have played this one or any of the games on this list, and let me know your thoughts about it. I'm interested to see if this one is as controversial here as it is on TikTok. I talk so much about Cozy Grove, but if we're talking about farming and life sims like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley, Cozy Grove is my top game. In Cozy Grove, you play as a spirit scout on a haunted island. Befriend spirits, decorate the island, and bring color back to the world. This one is played in real time, similar to Animal Crossing, so days pass in the game as they pass in real life. The story is so sweet, and I loved the character stories and gameplay in this. The gameplay is quest-based, so it's a bit more focused and gives you things to do every day, which I very much appreciated. The game is slow and relaxing, so there isn't a rush to do anything, and it's one of those games that you check in every day. There's also so much to do on the island, and you can tailor your gameplay to the tasks that you really enjoy doing. I spent over 100 days on Cozy Grove. I played it every morning on my commute, and it truly felt like spending time with my friends. This kind of game pacing will not be for everyone, but for me, this was just a game that felt like a warm hug that I could play every single day. I just adored my time with Cozy Grove. Hades is another one that's not my typical style of game. Dungeon crawling, roguelite, definitely games that I will play, but generally not my favorite genre. But Hades is a standout. This is a roguelite where you battle your way through enemies to make it out of the underworld. The game characters and stories are based off Greek mythology, and as you progress through the game, you'll learn more about each of the characters. I totally loved this game, which was really unexpected. The combat is challenging and also super satisfying. I felt like this had a really good mix of story elements and combat. There are so many weapons to play with and also ways to make runs more challenging as you keep going throughout the game. There are also ways to make the game easier, and I turned on God mode, which meant that it got easier every time I died, and I love a game that has that, because this one is hard. Hades had me totally hooked. I stayed up way too late trying to defeat enemies, and I hurt my hands by playing on the Joy-Cons on the Switch too much. The art is stunning, the characters are amazing, the combat is great, I just could not pull myself away. Outer Wilds was a bit of a surprise for me. I had heard amazing things, but I found that this game was really challenging for me to get into. Once I did figure out the controls and the gameplay loop, the puzzles and the lore of this game totally drew me in. In Outer Wilds, you explore the solar system while stuck in an infinite time loop. You explore the many changing planets to figure out the lore of those who came before you, solve puzzles to discover new areas of the universe, and unravel the mysterious stories that the planets hold. My major hangup on this game was the controls, which I found just challenging to get into. Also, they made me slightly motion sick. Also, dying is a big part of this game, and I kept getting very frustrated at the beginning because I just kept dying in really dumb ways. I am so glad I pushed through some of these frustrations because this game is magic. The stories are so intricately woven together, and the bits of knowledge you gain from across the universe all come together to help you solve mysteries. This is a stunning and well-crafted world that just felt like such a privilege to explore. Happening on new pieces of the puzzles and new areas I hadn't been to before felt like a triumph. The full experience of this game was just such a joy, and for anyone who loves exploration and puzzles and story-based games, Outer Wilds is a must. GRIS is less like playing a game and more like playing a beautiful work of art. In this game, you play as a young girl experiencing grief. You start off in a grayscale world, slowly adding colors and abilities as you progress through emotions. This is quite an abstract game and is meant to represent the experience of journeying through sorrow. The story is told without words and is both meaningful and emotional. The main gameplay is platforming through stunning watercolor environments, and the music is super emotional as well. I generally don't love these abstract kinds of games, but GRIS is a masterpiece. This is so much more about the experience and emotions of the game, which are conveyed so well throughout your playthrough. All parts of this game are just beautiful, and playing GRIS was such a wonderful and moving experience. A Short Hike is a stunning open world in a bite-sized game. You play as a bird trying to get to the top of a mountain in a provincial park. You collect feathers to climb further up the mountain, and along the way meet fellow hikers and discover hidden secrets. You can climb, soar, fish, and collect, all in this sweet pixel art world that is full of life. As described in the title, this game is a short one, but it is so full of life, and this world was so beautiful and wonderful to explore. This game gives you the freedom to take things at your own pace and explore the world to the fullest, or just focus on the main story mission. This game is so comforting. Playing this game just felt like a warm hug. It felt like a little vacation away from the world. If you haven't played already, A Short Hike is just such a lovely experience that I would totally recommend to everyone. When anybody asks me about my favorite indie game of all time, this is the one that I tell them. Return to the Obra Dinn is a game that I wish I could just experience for the first time again. This is a first-person puzzle adventure game where you play as an insurance adjuster examining the ship for clues. As you inspect each of the human remains on the ship, it takes you to a memory of how that person died. It's up to you to identify each person and unravel the mystery of their ultimate fate. A fair warning that this game will not be everyone's favorite. This is an intricate puzzle mystery that is much more detailed than it appears at first glance. I combed over memories and took notes when I was playing this game, which honestly is my dream come true. I found this game to be so intriguing and so much fun, and I just could not stop playing it. I had to split up my playthrough into 2 days for this one, and I could not sleep because I was thinking so much about this game. This world design is so well done with its 1-bit art style and accompanying music that truly made me feel like I was aboard the Obra Dinn. If you are a die-hard mystery gamer, or if taking notes at a game sounds like a blast, this is the game for you. I legitimately can't keep up with all of the amazing indie games that are out currently and the ones that are coming out soon. There are so many more upcoming games that I cannot wait to get my hands on. So if you're looking for games to keep on your radar, this is the video for you. I played 40 demos at the Steam Next Fest earlier this year, and these are my top games that I'm now looking forward to. And a lot of them were ones that I had no idea about. So definitely check out this video if you do want more amazing indie game content. Thanks so much for joining. I will see you all next time, and happy gaming.